Hello everyone, welcome to Algebra 2. This Miss Peltz here. We're doing our exponential functions. I'm going to have to talk really fast to try to get everything in, so you may want to pause it if you need to slow down, okay? Exponential functions, notice that my exponent is where the variable is at, and we have a letter here also, our b. That's going to be any constant like 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever we want it to be. We're going to do our graph as 2 to the x for our first example. Your b value cannot be 1 or 0, so it's got to be 2, and think of it as it needs to be positive because we know what that negative is going to do, and we'll talk about that later, okay? If you know me, if we don't know what our graph looks like, we're going to plug it into a table. When we plug in a 0, we're going to be plugging in 2 to the 0 power, which we know 2 to the 0 power is 1. We will plot that point, and every single time you will have 0, 1 as a coordinate on your parent function. So no matter what that base value is, it's always going to be 0, 1 because anything to the 0 power is 1. If I plug in 1, 2 to the 1, we know just gives us a 2 back, so that would be 1, 2. If we plug in a 2, 2 squared we know is 4, so 2, 4. If I plug in a 3, 2 to the third gives me 8, so 3, 8. If I were to go the other direction, let's refresh our memory what we know happens when we have a negative exponent. 2 to the negative 1, the negative tells me to make it 1 over, and then 2 to the 1 is just 2. So that would be negative 1, 1/2. If I plugged in a negative 2, that would be 2 to the negative 2, which gives me, the negative says 1 over, and then 2 squared gives me 4. So I could plot 1/4 here, negative 2, 1/4, teeny tiny point. If I did a negative 3, 2 to the negative 3, 1 over for the negative, 2 to the third is 8, 1/8. 1/8 is going to be kind of hard for me to graph, so I'm not going to worry about graphing it. But notice we would just get closer and closer and closer to, what do we call that x-axis? That would be an asymptote. And you should be familiar of asymptote from our last lessons on rationals. So we can connect our points. Those of you that know me and know the little machine I write with, I have to do my dashed lines, and then I can connect them with a solid. Otherwise, it looks really messy. Okay, so there's our graph. We also want to identify our domain and range. If you've forgotten about domain and range, remember domain are our x values. What x values do we use? How far left do we go? How far right do we go? Well, we go forever in both directions, so we can just use our symbol and say all real numbers. For our range, that's our y values, how low and how high. Well, notice all of my y values that I use are all above the x-axis. So we could say that our y values need to be greater than 0. You can put those in braces if you like. If you like the y with the bar, that's perfectly fine too. Okay? Now, I've given you the formula to refresh our memory what all of these h's and k's and a's do to our graphs. So just to refresh your memory, the k tells us we're going to have a vertical shift, and it will follow our sign, meaning if it's plus, it will go up. If it's minus, it will go down. So it goes exactly what you think that sign tells you to do, because we think of plus as being an up direction. Now, our h, notice, is attached, and it gives us our, horizontal shift. But the h goes in the opposite direction. We know if it's attached to the to the x, h is attached to the x, the minus comes with our formula, so that's going to go opposite. So we know if it says x minus 2, we're actually going to the right, because minus usually means left, but because we're going to go the opposite, we know we're going to go to the right. Okay? And our A value in the front gives us two pieces of information. First, it's either a vertical stretch or compression. And remember, if it's a number between 0 and 1, it's a compression. If it's bigger than 1, it'll be a stretch. And it also tells us if we will reflect over the x-axis. If it's a negative, it will go over the x-axis. Don't worry about the stretch and compression because it's a negative. That doesn't tell you which one of those it is. All the negative tells you is flip over the x-axis. Okay? So let's do a couple of examples. I'm going to go kind of quickly so that I can get through all of them. So first, notice my base value is 3. So my parent function would be 3 to the x. Now that's very similar to what we just graphed, but our base is a 3 now. So now when I do 3 to the 0 power, I still have 0, 1. Remember, we talked about that being the same every single time. But when I do 1, 3 to the 1 is now 3. So that will be 1, 3. If I do 3 to the 2, that would be 9. So I'd be way up here off of my graph. You don't have to plot that point if you don't want to, but to me it helps give me a little bit more idea what the shape's going to look like. If I go the negative direction, 3 to the negative 1 is going to give me 1/3. And then I can connect those. Now this one, I'm going to connect with the dashes, but I'm going to leave the dashes there because that's not my answer. Okay, so even if you're just using a pencil, you'd leave the dashes so that you know that's not your final answer. We still have some transforming to do because we have this x minus 2, which tells us we're going to have a horizontal shift. And we go the opposite direction. So if it's a minus, we know we're going to go to the right 2 units. Okay, so to the right 2 units, each point will move 2 units to the right, 2 units to the right, 2 units to the right. I could take this 1/3 and move it 2 units to the right. Notice my asymptote still stays here. It does not move. If it helps you to draw that in, you can. And then you can connect. You'll connect these with a solid line. Hopefully your line is prettier than mine. And you can draw it. Okay. You will need to name your domain. Our domain is all real numbers. It is every single time. And your range, again, asymptote didn't move, so y is greater than 0 is perfectly fine for your domain, for your range. Okay. All right, so let's try another one. Now this one's basically the same, and notice it's just a +2 on the end, so you're moving up and down. So let's move on to this one that has a little bit more movement to make sure that I get that all completed in the notes for you. Okay, so same basic formula. Notice this is my B, or my base. So my basic formula is going to be 1/3 to the x power. So anything to the 0 power. This one I do want to do a couple of points on a table for you just to refresh your memory, since we do have those ugly fractions that you love so much. So 1/3 to the 0 we know is 1. We have that same 0, 1 coordinate no matter what our base is. If we plug in a 1, 1/3 to the 1 is 1/3. So now I have a coordinate 1, 1/3. So notice it's going to be going down this direction this time. So if I did a 2, that would be 1/3 squared, which 1/3 times 1/3 gives us 1/9. That's way too small for me to draw, but you get the idea. It's just getting really close. Okay. If we went the other direction, this is where it gets a little tricky for some of you. So 1/3 to the -1. Remember, to the -1 means 1/1/3. Well, 1/1/3 is the same as saying 1 divided by 1/3. 1 divided by 1/3 is the same as saying 1 times flip. Remember, keep, change, flip. So keep the first, change to multiply, and flip this to a 3. So 1 times 3 gives me 3. So there's my coordinate, -1, 3. If I did the 2, notice I would get a 9. Okay, so we still have our same basic shape, but notice it's flipped over the y-axis this time. Okay, it reflected over the y-axis. This is decreasing. The other one was increasing because it was going up to the right. When it's going down to the right, it's decreasing. All right, now let's do our movements. With our movements, we always want to do this front part first. I like to go ahead and do those at the same time because it's too many lines if I try to do them together. So the -2 is going to be a stretch, and then I know I'm flipping it over the x-axis. So I like to start with my trusty 0, 1, and if I multiply that by 2, my y value by 2, 1 by 2 gives me 2, and then when I reflect that over the x-axis, I'm going to go down to -2. So I take care of the stretch first, and then I reflect it, but I do it all at one time. So same thing here. This was at 3. When I stretch it, it's going to move up to 6 because 3 times 2 is 6. But then I'm going to reflect it over to -6. Here, 1/3. 1/3 times 2 is 2/3. When I reflect it, it becomes -2/3. And so here is my basic shape. Again, I'm leaving it dashed because it's not my final answer. Okay, I like to then do my left and rights. So a +3 tells me I'm going to have a horizontal shift 3 units to the left. So everything on my pink graph, that's the last thing I did, is going to move 3 units to the left. 1, 2, 3 units to the left. 1, 2, 3 units to the left. Notice that horizontal asymptote hasn't moved yet. It's still sitting there. Okay, and then the last thing I'll do is my 4, which tells me I have a vertical shift, and we're going to go up 4 units. We're going to go up 4 units. So from my orange, that's the last one I did, I will move every point 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. This point 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. This point 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. And don't forget that horizontal asymptote also has to move 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. So draw in that horizontal asymptote because it helps you to see it, especially my visual people. So then you can see that when you draw it in, there's your asymptote. Okay, and you just connect your lines. Notice my domain is still left to right, all our points, so that's still all real numbers. But our range changed this time. Our range, our asymptote moved up, but notice my graph is all underneath the graph. So that's going to be y values that are less than 4. And that's what my domain and range would look like. Okay, so I know I didn't have enough time to do the number 2 example. I will go ahead and finish it. I won't have time on this video, but I will finish it so that when I load it into our Google Classroom, you'll have that worked and you'll be able to see if you could do it right as well. Okay, so if you have any questions, make sure you jump on your teachers' hangouts and ask them questions, or you can ask me questions, whichever way works, or send us an email or a message on Google Classroom. All right, so hope everybody's doing well. We are going to miss you all the way to the end of school, but we will be back next year so you can come by and see us. Okay, y'all take care and be safe.